still maintain we should start using the good idea fairy pop. Oh, hey, I know you have little time for social media and shit like that. There was a story I tried to send you, and it's been a few years back, where a crew were working on an aircraft carrier, and a B-52 asked permission to do a flyby. They gave them the permission. They had the crew come out on the deck and this, that, and the other. Everybody's yelling and screaming, "Hey, we don't see you!" And they say, "Look down," and the B-52 is below the flight deck, just off the water, flying by, and there's a photo of it. So if you get a chance, I think it was Facebook Messenger I sent it to you. You see this B-52 below the deck of an aircraft carrier. The nuts on that pilot. Roger.
What's up, gentlemen? Terrence Popp here, and I'm coming from the Lair. Blake is working and will not be able to podcast tonight or Thursday. He'll be back the following Tuesday. But we do have a guest here tonight. I'm going to try to get him in here because, you know, let's see if I can get this to work. And we got Keith here.
Savvy. What's up, boss?
All right. Can you guys hear him?
Hello out there in internet world. Anyone?
All right. I think they got you here. I think they got you. Hang on. I'm just looking at the comments here. Okay. Audio's good.
Copy.
All right. Now, we're going to be talking about a sensitive subject here tonight, and it's in regards to the 4th of July mass shooting that apparently there's, 9 dead and somewhere around 16 or 17 wounded. I could be wrong there by a few, but and we're going to be talking about this. And before we start, we go into it, I'm just going to give my spiel here. Now, prior to the late 70s, we really didn't have mass shootings. We had that one clock tower guy back in the day, and but for the most part, we didn't see shit like this. And what started to take place during the late 60s, and it ran all the way to the end of the 70s, was the removal of the father and the breakdown of the nuclear family. All right. Now, would you agree with that, Keith?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, historically, the nuclear family has built civilizations going back to when we first started writing shit down and chiseling stuff into rocks and what have you. And what we are seeing now, and it is speeding up, is basically the dissolution of our culture as we know it. All right. Because historically speaking, once this gets to a certain level, there's no coming back from it until it just runs its course. And it is savagely how shall we say, destructive.
Hmm.
All right, so we're starting to see that now. All right, now we're going to talk about the shooting on the 4th. We're going to go over the shooting at Buffalo and the shooting in Texas. Okay, and there's also rumors out there that the shooter in Buffalo and the shooter in Texas had contact with a retired Alphabet Agency individual, and I'm just waiting to see if that same thing happens here, because I can almost guarantee you there are people out there, as soon as this thing happened, were able to download all of the chats on 4chan and 8chan this guy participated in. His Facebook, his Twitter, and any other social media. That was all probably copied, but has since been all deleted. And this is a common occurrence when shit like this goes south. And one of the main reasons why I think that's happening is, mainstream media is they want to formulate their own side of the story, and they don't want to
Well,
have
absolutely.
they don't want to have anyone have the ability to look at social media and go, yeah, you said this in the story, but that's what we're not seeing here. They want to
Yeah.
have the ability to just give one story.
Yeah. If you control the media, if you control the narrative, then history is whatever you tell people it is. So
Yeah.
if they've got all that stuff on lockdown, then yeah, it's we have to accept whatever they tell us. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, but since, I did civil affairs, intel analyst work, and a little bit of psyops, they're not fooling me. I have actually been in the room while psyops was actually created to get the masses to move in a direction that they wanted the masses to move. This is nothing new. It's been going on for a hell of a long time.
Oh yeah, if you've played the game, you can see you can see how the folks are moving. You can see the steps they're going. So yeah.
All right, so let's get us down here towards the end. All right, we've got the Highland Park Parade mass shooting, and this is from ABC News. Hang on, I'll bring it down so you guys can see it. Now, I have the same story from different news agencies so we can see how each one is spinning the story. Okay. Now, first I want to say this is some fucked up shit. I am not a fan of this at all. I'm a firm believer if you have a beef with an individual, you handle it with that person. Okay, you don't take it out on innocent people. All right. So, other than the fact that he wanted probably to get famous quickly, other than that, I mean, these are the actions of a deprived. Okay.
Attention-seeking behavior, I believe, is the
Yes.
term.
Yeah. Now listen, I am not a psychologist, but typically when somebody does something like that, they're a little on the crazy side. All right. Now, please, gentlemen, here's another. I want to put this out. Our patron account got nuked today for whatever reason. I think they gave us violated hate speech, whatever that is. You and I both know that that's, a bunch of horse shit. So if you supported us on Patreon, please move over to Subscribestar or ManoPay. And we're working on a couple of other options because, quite frankly, we're almost doing this show for free because, it's getting to the point where, we don't have enough money to basically keep Blake on staff permanently or on a more regular basis. So one of the reasons I'm live streaming is he has bills to pay, and he can't pay them because YouTube has demonetized us. Now we lost our patron page. I'm going to try to come up with some additional choices because there's still some out there, and we'll see what happens. So if you sent us a super chat and I can't get to it, send us an email to redonkulas12@gmail.com with the subject in the email stating super chat. Put what you have to say, a dollar amount that was that you sent, and I'll address it at the end. Okay, and I can still see on this. I can see the YouTube super chats, so I will address those. You know, I'll take breaks from time to time to get through those. But that's where we are in here. I mean, I only have one set of eyes. Usually, if it's me and Blake, he manages one section, and I handle the rest of the other stuff. All right, so let's go into this article here. So it says, a Highland Park parade mass was planned for weeks. Gunman fired over 70 rounds. You know, he's a 21-year-old suspect. A couple of these have him put at 22 years of age. Okay, and it's 7 victims died Tuesday from injuries from the mass shooting. Okay, now some of these stories says he was in an elevated position. Did you hear that, Keith?
Yeah, that's. I heard he was working from an elevated position, shooting down on the crowd. Basically using that to his advantage because a lot of people, obviously taken by surprise, were referring to it more as thinking it was firecrackers and stuff like that, more than gunshots on them. So,
and do you know what else that's very similar to the mass shooting in Vegas?
And I mean, obviously it's not OPSEC, but let's face it. If you're behind a rifle looking through glass, you use certain positions to your advantage for, not necessarily sound reduction, but it prevents people from being able to properly identify where you're coming from. So some of this almost seems like a tradecraft as well, and it seems a little bit out of their depth. So
what you're saying, a 21-year-old kid with no military service somehow knows about, channeling the muzzle blast from your weapon in ways where it can't be instantly located?
Hey, listen, he could have possibly read Major Plaster's book, but I'm going to go on a limb and say,
okay. Well, there's a big difference between reading about it, seeing a video, and then knowing how to do it in the real.
Yeah, execute, okay. Right?
So, I mean, that is another. That's just. I just noticed some of those similarities. I'm not saying it is anything in particular other than odd.
We are just speaking to the ether. We say nothing is fact. Just if you've played the game, you sometimes see how the steps match up. It's kind of like,
you're right. It was firing from a roof of a business, which he accessed from the fire escape ladder.
So, target-rich environment, open field of view,
unsecured roof.
Multiple avenues of egress. I mean,
yeah.
22-year-old kid playing Call of Duty is not going to put this shit together. This is, and I'm speculating, and I'm putting just my vibe out there. It seems a little odd. I think that's the best word I could put.
All right, so like back in the day, when I was a kid running around being an absolute asshole, I used to climb on top of strip mall roofs on the regular. All right, now for me to get up there, if they had a fire escape, usually the ladder you couldn't access it, so I had to either push a dumpster over to get on there and climb up, Or most of the time, I didn't even waste my time with that because I was just a little kid. I was like 8 to 12 years old. I quite literally would climb up the drain pipe right to the roof. I'd be up there in 30 seconds or less. You know, and I used that trick on probably a half a dozen times to get away from the cops. Yeah, I went up the roof, ran to the other side, shimmied down, got lost in the crowd. Later, I found out that they knew it was me. They couldn't prove it. They wrote it down, and it came back to haunt me. But that's another story. I'm just saying that there's like all of these have like this crazy oddness about them. Okay.
Yeah. It and like I said, I tend to try to wait until we got a lot more concrete evidence and information coming out before. But there's just sometimes when you look at a situation and you just say to yourself, a lot of this sounds familiar. A lot of this looks like shit my guys would do or I would do.
Correct.
And then you look at the winner who executed and you're like, he's not that creative. He ain't that bright. How in the hell did he put this all together?
And check this out. Police said Como wore woman's clothing during the shooting to apparently allow him to hide his facial tattoos and blend in with the crowd to flee.
So this wasn't a suicide. This wasn't suicide by cop. This wasn't a, hey, I'm going to do this, get my 15 minutes of fame and burn out. This is, I'm going to cack off a few rounds. I am going to strike hard, strike fast, and fade away into the night. And once again, I mean, where is a 22-year-old who, well, where is this 22-year-old coming up with that much forethought? So,
yeah, I'm
just
saying.
like you said, I'm just putting odd as about the best way I can look at this.
It says, following the attack, Como exited the roof. He dropped his rifle and he blended in with the crowd and he escaped. He walked to his mother's home,
yeah.
who lived in the area, and he blended in right with everyone else. I wonder if they caught him because he dropped his rifle and it had a serial number on it. I would like to read those notes. Oh, yeah, here he is right here. All right. So we're looking. This is the 21-year-old douche, nozzle. Probably should have went in the military at 17. He wouldn't be having these problems.
He looks like a stiff breeze that'd knock his ass in the dirt.
Yeah, and like, why does he have counting marks under his eye? Is that how many times he's been punched in the face? And then look at these tattoos on his neck.
Hang on. That could be his version of the dick stacking contest or dick stacking measuring. He's, instead of going vertical, he's going horizontal.
Well, you got 5 pipes in the eye? Hey, you put your pipe is in my eye. All right, now I'm laughing at the jokes. I'm not laughing at this situation, so I don't want anybody to get pissed off here. I've already told you this is a shitty-ass situation. Okay, so he's 21. He bought 5 guns overall, including 2 rifles, over the last year or so, police said. Okay, they're not saying he has a motive. It said the shooting appeared to be completely random.
Okay. Hang on. I got to call into question.
Yeah. All right. Parade. 4th of July. Random.
High number of people channeled into an area, likely avenue of approach from your target position. Random's ass.
Yeah. Well, how about we use the same word? Yeah, odd.
Yep,
This
odd.
is odd. Odd. We'll go with odd. Okay. All right.
God, Jesus.
Yeah, this is insane. Okay, in 2019, a family member reported that Cremio said he was going to kill everyone. Authorities removed knives, a dagger, and a sword from Cremo's home, police said.
All right.
Please pay no attention to to the swords behind me.
Hold up.
Here we go.
So, not 3 years ago, the police have been in here acting on comments or actionable intel that says, hey, this guy's going to do something bad. Obviously, it was strong enough information or evidence that allowed them to remove all sharp, pointy things from dude's possession.
Correct. So can you say douche nozzle?
Who wasn't keeping tabs on this kid?
Odd.
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 Detective Odd, do you care to say anything about this?
Dude, that would be a funny comedy skit. Detective.
Just put him in a trench coat, have a badge. His name's Odd.
Yeah, what state you live in now?
I am in Florida.
You fag.
Hey, listen. I am a bundle of sticks that is warm. How's that?
I might have to go down there soon. Oh, and for everyone out there that doesn't know this, the person that I had bought this house for to help him with his recovery, he didn't make it, and he burned in. And he died about 15 days back. So odds are I'm going to be getting rid of the Lair here in the next year, maybe 2 tops. Or sooner, depending upon how the world, blows up. And we'll see what happens. Okay, it says there's no information that he possessed any guns at the time, and there was no probable cause for arrest, police said.
Hold up. You had enough something to remove all the pointy sticks from his place.
Yes.
But you didn't have enough.
Probable cause.
Officer Odd, what's wrong with this? I don't know. It's odd. Okay. I mean, you had enough to be able to remove personal property from a person's residence. Well, wait a minute. I wonder how old he was. So he's 22 now.
He was 19, 18
so
at the time.
Okay, so he's adult. I have questions, Your Honor. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes, I have questions as well. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Online posts include videos showing what appears to be a portion of the same parade route where the shooting took place.
But it's random. He's got a map of the target area, but it's a random thing.
And here he is. He is believed to be linked to a social media post that discuss or depicts acts of violence, including shooting people. The law enforcement sources briefed on the case told ABC News. And a lot of the online posts appears to be the parade routes where the shooting took place. All right, so you're a paratrooper. I was a paratrooper. We served in combat zones. All right. Now, typically, when I was over in Iraq, I kept an eye out for Haji doing reconnaissance and them doing rehearsals. All right. First thing they do is they always do the reconnaissance. I've probably busted half a dozen guys pacing shit off.
Yep. Walking
inside
over
the
same
compound.
Footsteps.
And that's a no. You're going right to the whip me spank me camp. Or we would have, like, for instance, on the prison, the main parking lot, because we had a visitor parking lot. One day we had 12 vehicles pull up, stay for 2 minutes, and they all drive away. And that happened roughly 3 or 4 months before my unit left. And in roughly 2005-ish, there was a big attack on the prison. 15 vehicles rolled up. A bunch of motherfuckers got out, breached the wall, and it was on. All right.
Yep.
And I talk about this in my book, The Warrior's Way. If you're going to be attacked, something is always different. I'm just saying.
There's always indicators. Now, obviously, it's easy to look after it happens. You can always look back and say, "Oh shit, we saw this, we saw this." I had a similar situation in our stateside deployment. We worked to secure an ammunition factory that has been shut down for a long time. Moral of the story is, although we never had anybody truly crash the gate, we had a few people that would purposely ignore the squawk box they were supposed to stop at. They would charge the gate, see the response, and then back away and leave. And buddy, I tell you what, you want to talk about getting a pucker. Every time we'd see that shit, it would go from 33% to 100% security for a long time until all that blew over. But yeah, there's going to be a warning sign. There's going to be something that pops up and says, hey, and if this kid has maps or target identification photos sitting around on his social media or whatever, this ain't random. Somebody took some time, put some of this shit together, and I'm willing to bet there's probably going to be some information that'll come out that he tested how to get to the rooftops, or he tested his ability to get up there, make sure things were unsecure, or he had the tools to make it unsecure so he could get up there. So
correct.
Something's odd.
And here's another one here, and we'll get to this at the end. Cremio had been living with his uncle, Paul, but the two barely interacted beyond exchanging hellos. All right, so this person, I'm thinking, is coming from a very bad family situation, broken home type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, everything in here screams
odd.
Yeah, because let's face it, growing up, I was fortunate. I had a together home. My parents stayed together until my father passed and all that other stuff. But as that growing up of being a young man, you go through those odd periods where you think you know it all. You think you're ready to rule the roost, and you think it's time to challenge Alpha, and then Alpha beats you down a little bit and lets you know, oh, okay, you're not as bright as you think you are.
Yeah.
This kid obviously did not get that we'll just say that nurturing ass whipping that he probably needed.
The checking. And
yeah, the let you know that, hey, you think you might know something. Correction, you don't. Here's a retrain. Let me get you back down on the right path. And the fact that his uncle's like, hey, we barely exchanged hellos. I'm willing to bet if you were to put him in a lineup, the uncle probably could not even identify him. That's how far removed they probably were.
Yeah.
So this just screams there's a multitude of family issues that needed to be addressed, and
they weren't.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I mean, just look at his face. Look at that. Listen, I'm telling you right now. If I was in a father all right, let's just say I had a young punk living in my house, and one day he comes home with writing on his face. Right behind that writing immediately is going to be an imprint of my fist. And he's going right to wherever to get that shit burned off of his face. I'm not having it.
Or steel wool.
I'm not having it. I mean, that is insane. All right.
Well, and let's face it, if there was even if it wasn't a biological father, because I'm going to accept the fact that divorce, temporary marriage, all that shit is now the new norm.
Correct.
Even if it wasn't his biological father, had there been a man, had we not put on this whole war against masculinity, had there been a masculine father figure in his life, he probably would not have got to that point where he would have gotten the facial tattoo. He would have known. I don't know about you. A lot of things I judged when I was a kid, if I would do it or not, is always based on how bad is my dad going to beat my ass when I get caught. And if it's at this level, well, we got to rethink that. If If it's at this level, okay, maybe I can give it a shot. I've had my ass chewed. I can do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he going to beat me to a pulp? I don't like that. That sucks.
It's not
Let me
going to
bring
work.
it back down here. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's that weighing of options, It doesn't have to go to an OODA loop. It's just real simple. Is he going to beat my ass? Yep. Okay, we got to bring it down a little bit. Okay,
that's
I
another
can get away
thing.
with it.
Is there was a time, putting your hands on another man in a constructive way to re-educate them was the preferred method of discipline.
How many times, I know on a squad level, how many times has there been that, hey, we've been around each other too long, we've been on deployment too long, we've been wrapped up in this room, we've been wrapped up on this, we've been doing training too long, you're stepping on your dick one too many times, I've had enough. You go outside the squad bay, you have a little wall-to-wall counseling between one another, you shake hands, you have a meal. Hey, all of a sudden the squad works a lot better after that. Everybody's a little, hey, you know what? I was wrong. Let me move past this. Like, you totally hit the nail on the head. There has to be, it can't just be an ass whooping for ass whooping's sake. There has to be.
You never do that.
Pain is the lesson, I think, was the phrase I always heard. A good ass whipping that leads to a lesson lets you go, hey, I can accept my responsibility. I screwed this up. I got a little pain to remind me. So every time I get stupid, that boot in my ass goes, hey, we don't want to do this again. So let's stop that shit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And this is insane. Let's see what the next one has.
Yeah. Yeah, because this kid's, oh Jesus.
Here we go.
Sweet baby Jesus.
And they're trying to say this guy is, white supreme pizza. All right, now, first of all, I'm going to tell you this right now. When he gets to prison, this picture here is going to haunt him until the day he dies.
I'm thinking the first 24 hours in prison, he's going to go from 5 to 20, just between you and me. He's going to have so many Eskimo brothers on that floor. It's just going to be.
I don't know. To be honest
Look
with
at
you.
this. Look at this piece of shit.
I have a feeling that they're going to have to keep this kid in protective custody because there's a lot of people who probably want to kill this guy.
Listen, if they could get to what's his name to suicide him, they're going to be able to get to this kid.
Yes, that's
they're
right.
going to be able to stop this kid.
All right, now the gateway,
especially if there's more to it.
What did you say?
I said they'll get to him, especially if there's more to the story here. If Detective Odd is not just in our heads, he will have an accident.
Okay, and here the Gateway pundit uncovered information indicated Cremio is a radical progressive with ties to Antifa.
Hang on, color me shocked.
Progressive groups and the occult. Odd. There we go.
Well, let's scroll back up to those pictures for a second. So he's got the ninja mask, and is that a Mitch helmet he's got on his head?
Yeah, well, I think there's a picture down here. Goes into more detail.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said. I think when we were talking earlier that this kid's got a little Antifa backing. Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, there's that same picture.
Well, that's his driver's license photo, and that you would, I wig out if I got hat head, for Christ's sakes, in my photo. This dude looks like a turd that got beat by the ugly tree on every branch all the way down.
Yeah. And he's got a root up his ass.
Yeah, and he's just smiling. Hey, look at me, I'm cool. Once again, a father figure should have been there to cuff him in the back of the head and say, no, go home, wipe that shit off your face, maybe get a haircut.
Look at this part here. Social media video shows school shooter fantasy.
Yeah.
And I love how they say the rooftop sniper attack. Snipers only fire 1, maybe 2 rounds. It's a rooftop gunman attack.
Can't fire 3, they'll know where you're at. So here's another thing. what's immediately going to come if they haven't already started screaming for it? What's going to come after this whole shooting thing?
Oh, they want to
We're
have
going
more
to.
gun control.
Okay, where did this happen?
It happened in Chicago.
What's the gun laws like in
Oh,
Chicago?
they're a fucking nightmare.
They're tighter than a bullfrog's ass.
Yeah, they're about as bad as New York City. Hey, I got somebody knocking on the door outside real quick. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna go out and see what the hell's going on. All right.
I'm going to make odd jokes about this kid and his facial fucking tattoos.
All right. I gotta answer that door. So hang on.
Go get it. Ugh. Fucking. Yeah, so I can't see y'all commenting. If you can hear me, great. Sorry about it. You got to listen to me vamp while he's gone. Yeah, I just expect more yelling and screaming about quote unquote, and you can't see it, but common sense gun laws are coming. The problem is, with as tight as the gun regulations are in Chicago and all that other shit, name for me one law that would have fixed any of this. Because ultimately, the last time I checked, murder's still illegal. So at the end of the day, he went up there with the intent to kill somebody. So I'm going to go back to Officer Odd, because this is just odd. All the shit that's going on, and this kid had intentions of causing serious physical harm, death, and there's no law that would have stopped it. And the part that bothers me a little bit is that this kid obviously had law enforcement in his home at one point, and they were able to take his shit, but they didn't take good enough notes. Good. Yeah, sorry I was in here just babbling on that.
No, go ahead. It's cool, man.
We're going to see more gun laws come out of this, and it's all going to come down to, hey, we need common sense gun laws, but the problem is
there's no common sense. We have so many laws on the books.
Yeah, and we don't enforce any, or none of them would have stopped this kid if any of them were enforced. So, and the last time I checked, murder's illegal. So he already broke one law, so another law is not going to matter. So,
here we go. Crimeo is tied to the Democratic Socialists of America, as noted by tattoo on his neck.
Wait a minute. The two-tone hairdo and the pigtails, and he's a Democrat. I don't buy that.
Right here.
Uh-oh. Is that a, hey, how you doing salute?
Yeah. And there he's doing the thing. All right. But that's the tattoo. Remember you're talking about, you gave the 13 and a half story?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Right there.
They tell you everything. If you know what to look for, it will tell you everything a person does not want you to know. Bottom line.
Yeah, I would say you are correct.
Fuck.
And here's stuff that was on his Facebook. There's the Antifa flag. Yeah, I don't know what this 4747 stuff is. I don't know what that is.
So there was I believe he was an FBI agent that was talking on one of the news channels the other night when this guy came up as a person of interest. And he originally thought that the kid had a 4-7 tattoo on his face. And the guy was pretty much laying out the story that for some gang members and some, what do you want to call it? Some form of street cred, this kid was using 4-7 as a, basically stating AK-47. And that this kid, so that agent or that officer that was on there speaking said, once we find out about this, he would not be shocked if it turned out he used some kind of AK platform to execute all this. Do we know if it was an AR or an AK platform?
I have no idea, but right now the AR platforms are dirt cheap. You can't get an AK platform for anything less than like $800. Whereas you can get some.
That's if you're going to the store and buy it.
I'm just saying. Who knows? I don't know what the platform he was using, but here it is right here.
Yeah.
Come on, look at this picture here. He's wearing the Antifa uniform.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, I've said this before. A lot of people make determinations about you based on your uniform. So, if you're a attractive woman and you're wearing a uniform that, shows off the headlights and the rear bumper, people might think you're a whore. Just like if you show up somewhere and you're dressed like a cop, but you don't have the badge on, people might think you're a cop.
Yeah, like January 6th, where you got 6 guys wearing khakis and polos standing out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. Come on.
Odd.
I would have to go odd.
Oh,
Here
what a
he
piece
is.
of shit.
Look at this guy.
Okay, so yeah, look at this illustration down here. So he's thinking about going out in a blaze of glory in that little illustration with all the blood laying out. That's him with the rifle, I'm assuming it's supposed to be.
Yep.
Facing down with cops. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with big fuck no on that one. Yeah.
So look at the black and white photo just above it. He does have a 47 tattoo on his face.
He does. Yeah. Wow. Yeah,
I'm trying to think. What's
the anarchy thing here?
What's that phrase we used to have for kids like this? Oh yeah, shitbird. Yeah.
Yeah, but look at this. Like I told you,
Evidence reveals he's not a Trump supporter. No shit.
Yeah, listen, I would find it hard to believe that this guy would be a Trump supporter. Maybe if he didn't do this by the time he got to about 40, when he realized that he's getting lied to by the progressives.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with a big fuck no on this one.
Okay, so yeah, see, they're going through some of the
his posts.
Well, yeah, if you look how they've got some of the icons there, where they're pointing out shit that he had on either books, stuff tattooed on his face. Like I said, his whole history. If we had a solid photo of him where we could check out some of the other shit, I'm willing to bet we're gonna find everything we need to know to tell you that this guy. I mean, obviously we know he's a piece of shit, but there should have been well enough. Heads up that this guy's heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Once again, if there were a father in place to say, "Hey, that's another piece of stupid ink that you've got on you. Why did you get it?" And it could have been nipped in the bud a little bit while ago, but
yeah, or maybe you get yourself a knuckle sandwich. Body slamming works pretty good. John Wayne, since he's living in your house, you John Wayne his door and you take all of the fucking shit out of there that he could do bad shit with, and put it in a gun safe where it should have been in the first place, that only you know how to get into, and you don't have to worry about it.
I've always been a big fan of wall-to-wall counseling. It works in the private sector as well as it does in the military. Had somebody given him that 2 to 3 wall corrective action, he might have been looking at life a little bit different.
Yeah, and he's going to be spending the rest of his life in prison, however long that might be.
So somebody's going to be breaking that wall. Yeah, they'll be breaking it hard.
All right, here's another one right here. Now, this is again, Gateway Pundit. Here's pictures of him getting arrested.
He looks, what, a $105 sopping wet?
I wouldn't put him over 125.
Christ, look at that arm. That dog is ready to... I would have accidentally let the dog go.
Yeah, well. Here they are hitting his house. They probably ran the serial number on the weapon or something.
It either had to be that, or somebody caught that glimpse of...
Saw him, yeah.
When everybody's running east, he's walking west. I'm willing to bet that's where we ended up. And obviously serial number is probably another thing too, because this kid doesn't strike me as brilliant enough to get the Dremel tool out. So, or
maybe they caught him on a security camera.
Be the first time.
It wouldn't be. Yeah. Here they are. Let's see. Let's see. Law enforcement currently circling
Uh,
and inspecting vehicle driven by persons of interest.
oh, it's a Honda Fit. That's like the Antifa mobile between it and the Prius, right?
Yeah, I got a couple of buddies of mine who are in the Chicago PD. I might try to look them up and see what they have to say in regards to any information.
Find out if he tripped getting into the vehicle.
I'm sure that happened.
So somebody had to make him pay the tax because he needed to. 6 people dead.
Yep.
Yeah, he needed to pay the tax.
Well, listen, they're probably going to get him in prison. Here's Andy No right here giving his I'm not surprised tweet. Let's see, a music video featuring the Highland Park Parade Massacre person of interest. Oh,
Yep.
Awake the Rapper. So now he's a rapper now.
Yeah. What a piece of shit.
All right. Let's see. One of the now scrub videos from Highland Park suspect Robert Cremio, aka Awake the Rapper. This was long planned.
Yeah, because I think we mentioned that a little bit before all this, was that he had videos talking about, wanting to do these kind of actions and stuff like that. So
And
once again,
here's the social media platforms quickly scrubbed all this content, which included the Discord channel, YouTube channel, Twitter, and Instagram.
yeah.
They got to be able to make that narrative.
And let's face it, YouTube, I would love to see what that YouTube feed looked like. I'm willing to bet that's a roadmap of everything that went down.
Well, it'll be out soon enough because I can almost guarantee you if he's making rap videos, some of his buddies have it, and they're gonna make a quick buck selling that to the media. And it's a matter of time before we see it here.
See, I believe we need to have there needs to be some kind of recourse for the victims when folks go to jail and stuff like that. Victims should be able to put money at the canteen for the bad guys, like cellmates or people that live on in his block and stuff like that. So that you could just kind of put a little money in their canteen and say, hey, in case he falls or in case he needs a little loving, I want to be able to mark in some dollars and say, hey, Bubba, this man needs a little bit of loving at night. Will you help him out? Here's a couple of grand in the canteen. Just send me pictures when it's done, kind of deal. I think that's necessary.
Well, yes. Now, hypothetically saying here, something similar may or may not have happened in the past where, I don't know, the mailing list or the names of everyone in a particular jail or prison, and a bunch of postcards got mailed out and bad things happened. Hypothetically, of course.
Hypothetically. Wait a minute. Is this another one of those things to be investigated by Officer Odd?
Maybe.
Odd. Yeah, listen, I'm going to reach in the Wayback Machine. We're going to go October 27, 1995. I had a squad leader that decided he was going to do one of these numbers on the battalion out at Tal Stadium. He took his shots. He got one dead, a handful of injured. I know we got a couple of letters from him while he was locked up and stuff like that. I got to tell you, I very much wanted to pay some of his cellmates a lot of money. I mean, I was going to give all that jump pay up. I was going to give a little bit of this. I would have been happy to cough up that money and let somebody
finish it.
Share with him my displeasure of having to be in the situation. It's one thing, it's one thing when you got your toys with you. You got your kit, full battle rattle, and I go back BDU days, so we didn't have plate carriers. We did everything you know,
Old natural.
el natural. Yeah,
Yeah.
we embrace speed over protection.
Yeah, I was the same way.
So it's one thing to be in a firefight, M4, LCE, boots, and bag and baggage, so to speak.
Mhm.
It's another thing to be in your gray PTs, O Dark 30, and hearing rounds cack off at you. Particularly if you've never seen Tau Stadium at Fort
And
Bragg.
what's this? What year was? Oh yeah, the stadium shooting. I remember that. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I remember that. And there were some guys running by who, basically.
Five SF medics who made a bad turn beat. Actually, I'm sorry. I don't think beat strong. Monkey stomped the dog shit out. Like one of the guys broke his foot, kicking the piss out of him. I think they got rotator cuff surgery after all the high fives we threw out. They did not buy beer at least for a decade. I know, but yeah, I mean it's one of those situations where it's one thing to be in a firefight when you got your kit and you can play ball, so to speak, the two-way rifle range, right?
Yeah.
It's another thing when you've got nothing. Tal Stadium, like I said, it sits on level land and then you're in a bowl.
Yeah, I've
so
been
you've
there
got
quite
to
a few times. Yeah.
Okay, so if you know the layout, imagine having rounds cack by you and you are not only having to go up an incline, but a pretty steep incline, while it was shooter's choice because he sat in the tree line right by base housing right there and shot into the bowl.
The formation, yeah.
Yeah, and we were sitting ducks trying to get out of there.
Yeah, but the thing is nobody said, "Hey, what is that?" I mean, I saw the footage. It was like almost instantaneous. Everyone was fucking.
It was assholes and elbows.
Yeah, everyone getting a fucking. We're in the kill zone.
The Colonel Scroggins, as we affectionately referred to him as, Mr. Burns. He dude, you have to see pictures of him. It's funnier than shit. Put Mr. Burns in an old in the old K-pot. It looked just like him. The funny part is when the shooting was going down, his Choby boys had to kind of tackle him and say, "Sir, we need to get you out of here," because he kept on, basically raising his fist and shouting at the sniper out there. It's kind of funny. But yeah, we went assholes and elbows, and some schmuck. Now it's PT time. Hey, we're out there supposed to be doing PT. Some schmuck's up in his room with his video camera. I'll let you figure out why he had a video camera in his barracks room. It's all up to you. It's on a tripod, obviously.
Specialist Odd? Before he became Investigator Odd.
Yeah, before he transitioned to the civilian world, became a detective.
Yeah, I got you.
But he swung the camera out, so he caught the last few seconds. He caught the MP showing up as everybody's like breaking cover across Ardennes Road and shit like that.
Wow.
But yeah. It's a shitty feeling, and I hate using the term victim, but as a participant in one of those shooters, it sucks, and you're a little defenseless, but you want a little get back on this guy, and that's why I say, I'm sure amongst other things, if we had some form of being able to help out the folks in his block, it would probably be really great to be able to say, hey, here's a few bucks. Actually, I would open up a GoFundMe to get those guys extra treats to
finish it,
bust his ass.
Yeah, I got you. Unfortunately, if we were to do that, the FBI would come and knock on your door and be like, "What the fuck you doing?"
This is all.
Hey man, I'm fucking pissed. I want the guy punished. We understand that.
This is all hypothetical. We're just.
This is how that conversation would go. We understand your frustration. We're warning you. Don't do that again.
I better shut up. They might take my pointy sticks and all my rifles and oh shit. Keep quiet.
I'm just saying.
I said nothing.
I got
Jedi mind trick. There it is.
All right, so let's let me go to the comments and see if we have any YouTube comments here. Hang on. Or super chats. Hang on, let's get through here.
Probably a bunch of shut up. Get back to the story.
You guys suck.
Where's Bert or whatever his name is?
Blake. Yeah, let's see. I'm looking here. Okay. Oh yeah, snuggle struggle.
Snuggle struggle.
Yeah. I'm just looking here. I don't see any super chats on YouTube. So, okay. We'll move along. Oh, here we go. Here's one from Jonathan Nagy. Tau Stadium, good old Fort Bragg. Yeah, he was in the second and the 504th.
Oh, I'd rather be the baby in the belly of a whore than to be a member of the 504. I'm just kidding. Falcons all the way, 325. Now he's going to come back. Falcons suck ass.
Okay. Listen, I used to always do that. All right, so hang on. Let's go here. And we go to Lair, Maine, and we're going to make the jump. All right, Babylon B. Again, this is, we're talking about here. Now, I'm just going to go through this a lot faster than the other ones because I'm just looking to see how they handled it differently. All right. Okay, witnesses say crowd fled sound of gunfire, and others say at least 5 bloodied people lying on the ground, another under a blanket. Ooh, I didn't hear that one before. Now, here are some of the tweets from people who are involved. There's the law enforcement. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right. It says our initial story said the shooter may have been firing from a rooftop, although it's not been confirmed. Okay. I'm just trying to see, like, what building. It probably wasn't like a super high one. Maybe 2 to 4 stories. I didn't see any tall stories.
I was gonna say it looked like kind of like a what do you want to think? Like a 1-story, 2-story kind of town where it wasn't.
And here's another thing here. We got Chicago has one of the strictest sets of gun control laws in the nation, and it's not stopping shit. If you really want to stop this, either bring the father back in the family. That's probably not going to happen anytime soon. Give everyone the ability to buy and carry guns. Because guess what? When the shooting starts, it ends quickly when people shoot back.
Well, what was that church situation? You had the crusty old timer in there with the Glock. He one-timed the guy coming in with a shotgun. The shotgun should have won how many hits before the old timer came in, but he one-timed him and finished it. So
good.
We don't get enough of that, and they want to run to, hey, we need more gun laws. We need no. If you have a bit more people armed, the bad guys don't want a hard target. They want a soft target. They want to know that you don't have anything to fight back with because they're in a position of authority. Once you take that away, it becomes a whole different game.
Yeah, that game changes to a 3-to-1 advantage for an attack, 5-to-1 advantage for a siege. Ideally, you want to have a 10-to-1 advantage in the siege because frontal assaults are fucking expensive. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct.
And let's face it, once you start getting a few holes punched in your system, your motivation to want to do this horrible act tends to subside a little bit.
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. There we go. And then we have, we have some professional sports teams, basically talking bad about the country in regards to 4th of July. I have no idea why we continue to support these fuckers with our tax dollars, because those like $1 billion stadiums that they're playing these games in, they're paid for by the taxpayer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we should have a fucking say if they get to stay in there and keep playing or not.
Well,
I just threw this out here because this is just infuriating.
Well, it's along the lines of what you're talking about there. I live in Florida here, and Governor DeSantis, let's just put it out there, he needs a dump truck to carry his balls around in. He put out a little bit of legislation basically saying, hey, look, you're not going to discuss sexual preference and a couple other things with children between kindergarten and I think like third or fourth grade.
Okay.
And they try to come out and say, well, this is the don't say gay bill and blah, 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 blah. It's not. It has nothing to do with it. It's probably one of the more simplistic bills out there that you can read in a couple of minutes. Moral of the story is he said, look, I'm just telling school educators that you're not, it's not permissible to discuss this at this early of an age. You want to do it when they're a little bit older and that's one thing, but you're not going to do it at this early age. Disney went and raised holy hell, said, hey, we're going to fight against DeSantis. We're going to do this, that, and the other. DeSantis said, okay, you guys get special tax privileges because of, your status down here. He pulled that shit. He's done. That wasn't Officer Odd. That was, damn.
Yeah, I like that, actually.
All that money? Yeah. Somebody didn't get the memo that he wasn't playing, and he took it away. And I agree wholeheartedly with you that if you have these football stadiums that get a tax break to be able to build in the towns that they're in, somebody should be saying, hey, look, if you're gonna promote this bullshit, if you're gonna talk holy hell about either the nation, the town, whatever, if you're gonna talk some crazy shit, we're gonna pull that stuff.
You won't see that. The bonds are due.
Yeah.
I want you to pay up front, all of it. Oh, you can't? You're done here.
Oh, sorry. Moving on. Yeah.
You're absolutely
there should be some kind of penalty.
And listen, there will come a reckoning for a lot of these companies that have gave money to the Antifa and BLM and critical race theory and all this craziness. It's, if I have my say in it, it'll be very bad for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
the check always comes due. And
yeah, you're absolutely correct.
Well, look at what Twitter's facing. As soon as Musk takes over, how many of those kids are going to be out of jobs? How many of those people are going to be
a lot
out of? Oh, they're so terrified of that guy taking over. It's unbelievable. Get the muskets.
And then we had Britain trolling us.
Didn't they learn? Didn't we set that precedent a long time ago?
Yep. They're like, you'll be back. No. It's been 250 years. We're not going back to be part of the Commonwealth. All right. And quite frankly, I've been to England quite a few times. I'm not impressed. Parts of it were okay. I hated the ditch pigs in Ireland. I never made it up to Scotland, so I can't give a definite 100% opinion on the country of England, other than it was okay.
Isn't it funny how the boots that have visited other towns or other continents or been across the pond, isn't it funny how very few of those folks will ever sit back and say, this place sucks, I hate this, we should do that. Once you see how the other half lives, you come back and go, hey, I like this shit.
That's
I like
right.
being able to do what I want.
Just like that one professional female basketball player who is now in custody in Russia, will probably be there for 6 to 10 years. When she gets back, maybe she'll have a different view on the U.S. of A. Because
what part made you believe Russia was going to put up with any of your bullshit?
No, they don't care. And listen, unfortunately, a lot of people in this country get special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and they shouldn't. All right, you should either treat everyone the same or there's a problem. Right now, we have a problem. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, now here is more. Now, I did a search on Facebook for this guy. And I'm just looking at, this picture here. Like, this is going to haunt him forever.
It's not a good look.
It reminds me of a music video from 1982 with the Buggles called Video Killed the Radio Star. All right, look at this. Come on. Yeah, he's a Trumpster. White Supreme Pizza. Get the fuck out of here.
No.
And here's wearing the Trump flag, so he's probably fucking around. Here he is wearing the Antifa helmet. Here he is getting arrested.
And see, there's a picture of him in a suit up there. And I have to assume that has to be a different court appearance that he showed up for, because he doesn't strike me as needing business casual for any place to work.
No, that's actually a suit is formal.
Yeah. So that's him going to a court case, I'm willing to bet.
Yep. And they're talking about him. He dressed as a woman to escape.
Wait a minute. Did they put pronouns in there?
I have no
idea. Are you fucking kidding me?
Where?
Look right there. When he, she, they put it. Oh, okay. It was part of a joke. All right, never mind. I was gonna say, if somebody put fucking pronouns in there, I'm going to blow a head gasket.
There's his uncle. Yeah, his uncle here, who didn't talk to him at all. Okay, what's this? All right. Again, he's basically making a comment that it's been scrubbed.
Yeah, that's if that's not out on Reddit, there's somebody out there right now that's got a whole jump drive full of shit ready to sell it to Fox News, because CNN's not going to cover it.
And now here they're saying he's a Trumper because he's at a Trump rally here. All right, now this is an actual story. I'm a member of an organization, and in 2020, I got earmarked to go pull some security for some events in Washington, D.C. So I flew down there. I did the deal. Now, I was outer cordon. So you had the security team that was, handled the principal. Then you had the internal security. I was the actual farthest security, and I actually worked I was closest to the crowd, and at times I actually went into the crowd. And Antifa was there, and quite literally, on 3 different occasions, I had to go out there with several individuals, talk to these people and say, listen, we know you're part of Antifa. We know you're here because you want to pick out your next victim and wait for them to leave here and go to their car. Okay, that's not going to happen. You need to get the fuck out of here. And they're like, well, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. I go, okay, I'm going to key this mic. 20 seconds from now, 30 people are going to show up here, and they're not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to point at you, and you're all going to be wore out, cuffed up, and stuffed. Get the fuck out of here. All right? So this guy was not a Trumper.
Well, how many times have we heard during various protests how there were Antifa dressed? Well, we'll go back to January 6th. How many people were there dressed as Trumpers, but we know them to be Antifa, trying to incite a little bit of shit because they want that attention that way, and it's horseshit.
Oh, and here's the music video.
No,
I'm sorry, we're having trouble playing that video now. I'm sure it's been removed. Well, it'll be up again. Listen, the internet is forever. Sooner or later, it's coming out. Okay, so they did
testing
a
of
rapid
DNA
on rifle. No, okay, nah, no way.
I'm gonna go with the serial number.
Yeah, DNA, not in 20 minutes.
I'm going with serial number. DNA return that fucking quick. I mean, come on. No.
So apparently he was known as the Wake Rapper with 1,600 listeners, Spotify.
No, that's 16,000.
16,000 and 100K net worth.
I got to tell you, he doesn't look like he's worth 100K. I give him 100 pennies.
Well, I'm not a big fan of the newer rap anyway.
Wait a minute. Go back up just a hair. So these people, go up a little bit more. So I'm wondering if that was a synagogue teacher.
Could be.
Didn't we talk about he got in some trouble at synagogue?
He was kicked out. Got kicked
And
out of the synagogue.
And that man just happened to be a synagogue teacher and his wife. I'm wondering, and it might be odd.
Okay.
This completely random thing could quite possibly been a little bit of assassination get back here for the people that kicked him out of synagogue.
Maybe. I don't know if they were killed or not. So.
Well, were they shot? Because what does it say here?
They just talked about him as he was in their synagogue and blah blah blah.
Here's a couple of victims who we do need to remember. Synagogue. So it lists them as victims. So they might be injured. I don't know if they were dead.
Okay. Yeah. Could be. A lot of people got wounded.
We'll dog ear that one.
All right. I'm just saying there's a access roof of a business, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a bunch of lawsuits for that owner of that building.
Okay, now here's going to be he legally purchased the rifle.
Yes.
Okay, so no gun laws or no gun restriction would have. He legally purchased it under the laws that we have out there. So.
Yes. I'm just saying, because he was able to gain access to the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Chances are they're going to find some kind of fault in that. I'm just trying to go through here. Oh, my God. There he is again. And they're talking about the woman's clothing thing. Now, I'm going to be honest. I mean, if he had driven to another state without his cell phone, he paid for everything in cash, decided to do this cockamamie scheme somewhere else, didn't leave the rifle behind, and was careful on how he if he had a brass catch or anything, and he was able to conceal it to get get moving again, it's quite possibly they'll never catch him.
Oh yeah. Yeah, particularly in the pandemonium that would have gone down once everybody realized it was shooting. Yeah.
So these are just more of the same old craziness. What's the next one? Oh, here we go. More pictures. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's going to haunt him forever. Who's the next one here? This is his biography.
Oh boy.
And this is insane. He talked about
talks about his father. What's this? Father's name is Bob, who was a small business owner.
Yeah, pantry and deli. Look at here. Yeah, downtown business. Yeah, if his father still owns that business, he's going to have to move. He will not be able to stay in business. They're gonna go after him.
It'll have a spontaneous fire.
Yeah.
But see, am I getting from this is his father part of the home?
I don't think so. No. So apparently he's put out some rap songs. His father's Bob Crimeo. I there's no way they ran DNA that quickly. I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here. It could have been facial recognition too, since he had contact with the police in the past.
Yeah, but they're going to have to be real careful talking about if they release the fact they caught him facial recognition. They're going to have to be cautious how they let that go because they're not going to want to talk about how much shit they got out there to look for people.
Oh, yeah. Listen, you and I know how that shit works. So, and by the time we heard about it, it's been going on for a long time. Now we're going to talk about the massacre in Texas that happened June 3rd. It gunned down 19 children in a school and 2 teachers, and was at Uvalde, Texas, 2 days before summer break. All right.
That's tough.
Yeah, I mean that's fucked up.
Well, and the sad part is
The police delayed for like an hour before they went in there to do anything.
no, they were inside. There's footage of them inside the school.
I know, but they didn't do shit.
Right. And I go on both sides here. I've played both sides of the badge.
Okay.
And I've been a soldier. I've been a cop. I know we run to the sound of gunfire. As a police officer, we tend to run to the sound of gunfire. In a situation like this, where it's in a school where you've got plenty of victims and stuff like that, I can see there being a pause to allow for tactical heads to make decisions or for folks or assets to be deployed. Because typically, active shooters are still relatively new, right?
Uh-huh.
We talked about it. This shit hasn't been around forever. So typically you treat it like a barricade situation. If you treat it like a barricade situation, time's on your side. It helps you to wait out the bad guy, because unless he's suicidal, and then that brings on a whole new can of worms. But if it's just some guy who fled from a traffic stop, fled from a domestic, whatever, and it becomes a barricade, okay, you cordon off the area, you wait for TAC to show up, you get the ninja suits out, you get them all ready to go, you let the negotiator talk to the guy, you let him cool down, you let him realize he's made a mistake, and then he either walks himself out or the Ninja Turtles gas him, thump him, and bring him out.
Yeah.
That's typically how you go. I can see how the officers may have reverted to that kind of thinking by saying, okay, this is the likely avenue of egress for the guy. We have secured his exit. We are now waiting for tactical access to do this. Should they have moved forward? Should somebody have taken the initiative and said, hey, we're going to clear this building ourselves? And think about it. It's a school. You've done building clearing. How many rooms?
It's a fucking
how
nightmare.
many bodies do you need to flow through and adequately clear that place out? Plus, if you've got no information, now granted, everybody's going to say, hey, it'll be easy to identify the bad guy because he'll be the guy with the gun. Look, you're flowing through a room, you're getting in there, you're screaming hands, or get on the ground, whatever. There's going to be there's going to be the potential for him to slip through all the chaos that you're going through.
Correct.
There can be something said for setting up that perimeter, holding the building, and this, that, and the other. So I go back and forth. I look at the footage and I say, I feel really bad because I know those guys, and somewhere in their head said, this is the plan we're going with. And if you make the right decision, you're a hero. If you make the wrong one, you're a heel, and you got to live with that on your conscience. Unfortunately, whether it be, and here's another aspect of it, and if there's any other cops out there in the chat, they'll agree with this. Brass will make the decision. And if brass makes a decision and you go against it,
you're fucked.
That's not only your career at that department, there's a good chance that's your career everywhere. Now, granted, you can't put a price on being able to live with yourself, but you don't know how that's going to shake out. So let's say you go in, you Rambo that shit, you go out there and you smoke whoever you think is the bad guy, turns out to be the janitor. Now you're up shit's creek and you got all kinds of problems. You haven't helped anybody, you've put yourself in a bad spot. So I go back and forth, and it's a terrible situation, and it's
Well, there's going to have to be a major change in policy.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot that's
Because
going to come from this, and there's going to be a lot of officers that are going to have the red ass for a bit, and they rightly should. But how much better is it going to give us, or what is it going to give us as a better way to attack the next situation, or be better prepared for the next one?
Well, because I did a bunch of active shooter training in Southfield, Michigan, with the Southfield PD and our reserve center, and they explained the whole thing, and I'm like, hey man, you're not going to have an hour to get the SWAT team here in some cases. And they're like, well, if that's the case, then it's usually the first officer who shows up on the scene is the one who makes the call going in or going out.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what they told me. I
And
just think
it sounds valid, but let's get down to brass tacks. Now, the longer the war on terror goes, the more likelihood that'll change. But think about it, even a few years back, how many officers may have had military training and would have that intestinal fortitude to be able to say, hey, I'm driving on, I'm going to go through, I'm going to battle through this.
almost none of them.
Compared to how many guys have, I got nine generations of cop in my family history, and I'm going to be a cop just because that's what everybody else did. They're not going to have that same, fuck you, Light, I hate you. They're not going to have that same look at a battlefield situation that a former military guy would have. So departments that have the ability to do that active shooter training, good on them, fantastic. They need to do more of it. They need to have as much of it as they can. The other departments are going to go with, well, it ain't broke, we ain't going to fix it. There's going to be a lot of, hey, we've always done it this way kind of shit, and that's the worst thing to ever hear. I know there's quite a few training guys out there who are willing to offer additional training or active shooter training to departments. And if I was really smart, I'd have some of it here. But long story short, for those departments that need it, it's important to have that shit, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And like I said, this Uvalde thing should show every department that, hey, if you don't have some plan, even a rough SOP of what to do, how to do, you need it. Get creative, have some industrious officer who's, the guy that's got 10, 15 years in Ranger Battalion and he bores you with war stories all day long, twist his ear and say, hey, what can we do for this? Exploit that knowledge and get it to use, because doing it the ways that we did it as cops back in the 90s ain't going to cut it. It's just not going to work.
All right, now this one here, it says outside the bloody crime scene, 19 officers were in the hallway but did not storm the classroom because the commanding officer mistakenly believed the active shooter portion of the attack had ended.
So miscommunication, and Brass, who is not on the scene, is making the call. And
that's
basically he put the leash on all the dogs and said, hold up, gotta wait and do this. We don't want to traumatize the kids.
I gotcha. Well,
made a bad call.
We're way beyond that. Okay.
Yeah, made a bad call.
The school resource officer was not on campus when the violence started.
How's that poor bastard got to feel right about now?
Probably pretty bad. And this is Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old from Uvalde, was the gunman, authority said, that purchased his rifle. He's the one that had the Ferrari of M4s.
Yeah, he had that Gucci rifle and a shit ton of ammo, but no real job to speak of. So, and I think a new vehicle too.
Yeah, he wasn't a rapper. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a quick piss break here, and we'll be right back.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
You look like a blueberry.
I'm all out of water.
back. Alrighty. Let's see if we got... Let me go through some super chats here real quick. And we'll finish up the rest of these sources. And we will get to the bottom of this craziness. Okay. Let's see, Real Jiffy Resident, $20. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see if we got any more in here. All right. I think that's about it here on... We haven't really got that many super chats on YouTube. Most of the guys who watch this don't want to give them any money, so I completely understand. All right, let's see what we got here.
Anybody got any questions in the chat? Anybody got any other dumb comments in there? I'm sure somebody will give me some shit about picking on the 504 at some point.
And like, here we go with the Ramos. It's not clear why Ramos targeted the elementary school of 535 students, grades 2 through 4. And that is just beyond fucked up.
See, I thought, did it start as a domestic and he bolted from that?
Apparently he shot his grandmother.
Oh, well, that's definitely a domestic, yeah.
So, I mean, again, we were just talking about this earlier about the broken family, the removal of the father, you know.
Yeah, because you take a shot at grandma, dad's going to kick your ass a little bit.
Yeah. Or your granddad.
Yeah. You might get 2 generations of ass whipping.
There we go. The shooter allegedly engaged in a text message exchange with a girl in Germany, telling her he shot his grandmother, a 66-year-old, who was in serious condition. Okay, then there's another video here, shows a teacher propping open a school door to the outside, and the door is typically locked. That's why he was able to get in.
Yeah, that was his avenue of ingress.
His entry. Let's see, at 11:28, the shooter crashed his grandmother's pickup in a ditch near the school. All right. He got out of the truck carrying a rifle and a bag. Okay, let's see. Shooter saw 2 people, a few of them across the street, and fired at them before continuing to walk towards the school. All right. Well, listen, if you probably should keep a rifle in your place of business, because you are in Texas. It's not as frowned upon as it is up here in the blue hell states.
One wonders why he was not smoked.
Yeah. Let's see. At the point, no officers were at the school. Gunman first echo encountered. Okay. Oh my lord.
Now, how many Joes have come back from the war on terror? Our parents have kids in school and this, that, and the other. You mean to tell me we don't have funding out there somewhere to give some of these highly motivated Huyas who got plenty enough training, weapons-wise, and how to handle themselves? You mean to tell me we don't have enough resources to put in additional resource officers to either do a perimeter security or put him in a vehicle out there? Just kind of watch around, because when the balloon goes up, it's much easier for him to respond when he's only a few minutes or a few seconds away, as opposed to waiting for whatever police response time.
Here we go. At 11:31, teacher who kept the door open called 911 to report a crash and a man with a gun. Okay, at 11:33, he walked in the West Side School through the door that's propped open. And he fired more than 100 rounds into classroom 111 and 112, which were adjoined. So he literally just walked in and just started shooting almost immediately.
That's at least 3 reloads, unless he had a nutsack hanging off that thing. He had at least 3 magazine changes.
Yep.
And let's face it, if you're not skilled, that's a considerable amount of time for an uneducated individual or an untrained individual to go through dropping the mag, putting a new one in, charging, going back to work, dropping the mag, charging, and going back to work.
And at 12:03, a student makes a 911 call from room 112, lasting 1 minute 23 seconds. She calls back at 12:10, reporting multiple deaths. She calls back at 12:13 and at 12:16 and says 8 or 9 students were alive. All right.
Or tech.
Yeah, at 12:15 p.m., members of the Border Patrol Tactical Unit begin to arrive. And some are off duty, sped in to respond, according to, okay. Here we go. Now, this is 12:36. Shots are heard, another 911 call, and again, 9:50. Tactical team opens the door with the key from the janitor and shoots, and shots can be heard. The shooter was in the school for an hour. Yeah.
That's a lot of time.
Yeah, this is fucked up here. All in all, 80 minutes had passed between when officers were first called to the school and then to when the tactical team entered the locked classroom and killed the gunman at 12:50. Yeah, and I heard that the cops were not letting anyone in there to assist.
Yeah, I mean, how do you?
Listen, I have kids of my own, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if I was stuck outside the school, then
it's not unlike the Las Vegas shooting when Dan Brazilian ran up to a Las Vegas cop and said, "Hey, give me a gun. I want to fight back." And guy almost fucking knocked him out. It's like, I get the idea and appreciate the enthusiasm with somebody who wants to help, but you're an unknown commodity. You're an unknown to me. So for me to say, hey, I'm going to let another person in there with a personal weapon, or for me to hand off a weapon to you, it's a no-go. A lot of people complain. I guess there was a parent out there who either had a gun or went to get a gun or was talking about, I will go get a gun. And they were wrapped up at the scene and all that other stuff. Listen, emotionally, yeah, I 132% am on the side of the parent. I would have done everything I could. I would have beat the living tarnation out of anybody in my path between me and my kid.
Yeah.
Take a beat, roll it back. If you are the cop on the scene, if you are the guy on that perimeter holding it for those guys inside there, this person comes up to you, you don't know from Adam, right? You don't know shit about them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you let them enter? Do you give them a pass and say, hey, go in there and get your kid? You don't know. This could be backup for the shooter. I mean, as crazy as it may sound, this could be another element going in there to wrap up those who come to respond. You don't know. It's an unknown subject, and you will not break your perimeter to let that person in there. So like I said, from an emotional standpoint, yep, I side with you. I'm 100%. I'm on board. Hey, let's get as many hoo-yahs in a posse and go through there and wipe this guy out. The problem is, can't do it. It doesn't work. It puts officers' lives at risk. It potentially puts innocent lives at risk, because let's say you let 2 or 3 people go in there with their shotguns and this, that, and the other, and a kid sneaks out of a room, they hear a door, they turn, they fire because they're not trained or equipped to handle this situation. Now you've just smoked a kid.
Yep.
So it's a bad situation all around. There's you're not polishing this turd one way or another. Nobody's coming out of this without some shit on them. It's going to be an ugly, ugly situation. But as we all know, as we've all been part of those crap operations, those crap missions or whatever, the great thing that comes from them, if you're part of a squared away unit, if you've got some people who got some common sense, the great thing that always comes about is you go, here's the mistakes we made. We do a proper whitewash of it and say, hey, did you do this wrong? Did you do this wrong? Did you do this wrong? And if the answer is yes, you get your shit squared away, or we get somebody new. But you build on what mistakes you made, and you make it right the next time. This is just one of those ones where it's ugly. It's flat out ugly. It's not going to be pleasant for anybody. It's going to be painful.
Yeah,
and it needs to have the light of day. People need to take some extreme ownership. Say we fucked up. Well, we need to do better. We need to get more training. We need to get more money. I think the brass that muddled up the call, I think he's either been relieved or resigned. Yeah.
Resigned.
So it's a step in the right direction. He should be charged.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is happening in a school with young children. Nobody can make a fucking decision. Somebody in that hallway should have said, fuck it, this is insane. We need to start moving.
Oh, absolutely. But like I said, keep in mind, those guys are saddled up, ready to go, and they get the radio transmission that, hey, I question that a little bit, because we just got done reading a report where the guys fired off 100 rounds. Classes or schools are not sound travels in a school. I mean, if you've ever had 100 kids moving down a hallway, you know how sound echoes just everywhere down through there. So if there's a shot going off, there had to be, you had to hear that forever. So for those guys to be stacked out there, be told, hey, stand down, it's the active shooter part's over, they had to have heard those rounds go off. So somewhere, somehow, somebody failed to take the initiative. So like I said, that's going to come down to whoever that guy was on the scene that took that took charge of that gaggle. And somebody should have nutted up and said, okay, we're going. Even if to just walk around and check doors, somebody should have done something.
And here we go. Let's see. And it says Ramos recently sent a former classmate a photo showing an AR platform rifle, a backpack with rounds of ammunition, and several mags. And this is like one of the kids at a school. He didn't want to be identified. And then like what the? I mean, this guy is. Hang on. It says every time I tell me plans. Let's see. Also, using social media app Yubo. I don't even know what that is. Ramos threatened girls he would rape them, showed off a rifle he bought, and threatened to shoot up schools in a live stream. Like, what? The shit is that?
That's kind of odd.
Yeah, here we go. We're back to odd. You like that?
And once again, I'm willing to bet, since he shot grandma, there was obviously not dad or.
Nope. I mean, look at this shit. So we had basically a freak situation. You had a school, a teacher leave an unauthorized door open. They had a policy in place, which was basically no policy other than the barricaded gunman. Nobody trained for that situation, right? Am I wrong here?
I'm willing to bet if we did a deep dive into their training records, they have nothing on the grounds of active shooter training. Yeah.
Yeah. And like nobody on the ground had enough stones to make a command decision. You can't tell me that at least a sergeant wasn't on the ground within 10 minutes.
Oh no, they're even whether it be a sergeant, a patrol sergeant, a corporal, patrolman first class. It had to be somebody with some leadership to be able to say, we're doing this, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
And they became risk averse over.
And listen, when you're in the business of fighting evil, risk averse is not the top of the skills you want.
And like I said, there's going to be a lot of fallout from this, and once again, rightfully so. There are probably going to be a lot of heads that roll, and it's bad from one perspective, but I won't mention his name. The whole extreme ownership thing is a powerful tool to have. If you can accept that, hey, you're as much part of the problem of something else, you can get through a lot of the emotional BS, and you can see how to fix a problem, and you can attack it and get it going the right direction. If any folks start taking some ownership of how this was handled, and accept their terminations that are rightfully coming, the town will be better off. It'll be terrible because you'll be without officers for a bit, but getting those guys out who, when the opportunity was there, they did not seize it, they did not act upon it, they let these folks die. Hey, that's your shortcoming. That's the heat round you got to take, and now we got to get you out of there so we don't make any more mistakes. But
I know.
It's bad.
Yeah, listen, this is just the green beanie in me talking, because I mean, I just couldn't stand by and let that happen. Listen, I got in trouble probably on 3. This is fairly, important. I got in serious career-ending trouble at least 3 times when I was in Iraq.
Now, let me ask you this before you get too far.
Okay.
In all 3 of those times, did the phrase "fuck it" come up at least once?
All of them.
There you have it.
Because quite literally, I mean, I'm standing there, shit's going south, everyone's looking at me. I have my instructions. I get on the radio. I can't get the guy. And I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. Lock and load, we're going in.
There you go.
And I got, they were going to run me up the flagpole. And I'm like, who the fuck, what you guys briefed me was not what it was on the ground. And then when I tried to get guidance, nobody could make a fucking decision. And I had to do that 2 other times.
And let's face it, on how many of those times did you come out the hero, right?
All 3 times.
You did whatever was needed. You came out on top. Guess what? You didn't get your ass handed to you. Now, if any one of those had you taken up the charge, and the shit went south,
would have ran me up the flagpole.
Yeah,
that's fine. But there is a lot of stuff. As a triple tabber, there's a lot of influence you have in the military that even officers don't have. Because there was other times where I could pick up the phone and make a phone call, and then that person would make a phone call to somebody who's like way up the chain to stop shit from happening. Now let's check out the next one here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here's the 2 rifles. No, hang on. All right, this is the guy from Texas. Yeah.
Well, at least he didn't have a face tattoo.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if this one has like the equipment list he had with him. I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to go through that.
2 AR-15s.
Yeah. He purchased them for his 18th birthday.
No problem there, because I don't think we had any prior law enforcement action.
The amount of the amount of crime that's done with the assault rifles is minuscule, and we'll get to that at the end, because I have some stats from the U.S. CCA in here. Now, this is what he sent out on social media right here.
Look at those 2 muskets. Okay, so he's got an EOTech.
That's a $400 item.
Well, and that's a Daniel Defense rifle. You can see the logo right there.
That's a $2,800.
So there's what, 3,200 bones right there.
Yeah,
and then there's, and then that looks like a, is that a POS Smith & Wesson? That's a bargain basement rifle right there. So he blew his whole load on the first one.
This one here, and
No.
listen, like I'm gonna tell you right now, there's the amount of money you pay between these two systems, it's not worth it, in my opinion. Now I know
listen, you get the name.
you get the name. It's like buying a Gucci bag to store potatoes in when a potato sack works just fine. Okay, let's see. Okay. And he had a bag full of ammunition days before the attack. Let's see. And probably like 7 mags. That's not a big deal. He bought 1,600 rounds of ammunition. 315 rounds in total inside the school with 142 spent cartridges. He had another 922 outside. He had them stashed. He had 60 magazines in total.
Fuck.
Okay, hang on a minute now. All right. At $10 a pop.
Yeah, the money starts adding up here.
Yeah, that adds up a lot.
Well, hell,
Ammo?
1650 in ammo, and at that time, green tip wasn't its typical 3 cents a round. I mean, it's expensive to get.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can get wolf ammo for 28 cents a round at 5.56 55 grain.
Okay, so even at that, how much money are we talking?
You're probably talking about $800, $900 in ammo.
So you got a grand in magazine, a grand in ammo, $4,000 in rifle.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what we got here, and you got the vehicle. So he wasn't known to be a criminal or have a mental health record.
Well, the threatening chicks of raping him and shit like that, I think they'd say.
All right, now here he is. Friends and relatives said Ramos was bullied, cut on his own face, and fired a BB gun at random people and egged cars. I'm not going to even count egging cars. I did that as a child.
Yeah, but I think it's the totality of the evidence here. So he was bullied. He cut on his face, which means
that's
as a cutter,
problem.
there's some issue there.
Yeah.
Firing the BB gun at random people, that's tantamount to the serial killer that
kills the
cut up the neighbor's cat first and then works his way up.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I mean, there was a roadmap here, but I mean, once again, it's hindsight. But I mean, you can see where the things are there.
Yep. I don't know. He just look at him. He just looks fucked in the head. I don't know. So they picked on him because he had a stutter and a lisp. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to be honest. This guy should have been a boxer. You got a stutter and a lisp and kids pick on you. You go learn how to fucking fight. You kick some of their asses and guess what? They stop picking on you. And I believe I covered this in my comedy video, Why We Need Bullies. You should go check it out.
And once again here, whether it's the bully or it's the man in his life, somebody should have said, "Hey, look, you got your ass handed to you. What's going on? Hey, let's go down to the gym. Hey, let's go get some fighting. Let's get you to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place."
And I bet you 10-1, he comes from a broken home situation.
Well, I'm assuming since he shot his grandmother, that's where he was living.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm not going to continue reading that whole thing here. So hang on, let's see what we got here. The Buffalo Shooter. And, he killed 10 people at a Buffalo supermarket. I remember I saw that footage, and it reminded me of the footage from New Zealand when that guy attacked that mosque and just started shooting people.
Well, and this guy took it a step further and specifically said he chose the area
because there was no guns.
Well, in addition to that, because of the ethnicity that he would find in that area too. So he was a piece of shit anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, you just go shooting up fucking unarmed people willy-nilly. I'm just trying to find out where they talked about the study for radicalization. Now look, he's wearing the Antifa helmet thing.
He wrote about wanting to commit suicide. Well, shit, you should have sent me a message. I'd have helped you out.
Yeah, and see this here. This is that. This is Russian ammo right here. Steel case.
Well, yeah, at least the gray ones are stripper clips. I give him credit. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's got the tool and everything. Look at you, piece of shit.
Look at you.
Fucking hate this kid.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, wow.
There he is wearing his shit in school. Okay.
Crazy. Why?
He showed. It's probably for some COVID thing. He's wearing his full hazmat suit.
Congratulations, their administration. This is what you've done to kids. You've knocked them so. Just never mind. That's a whole other story.
And did they take this guy alive too? I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think once the good guy showed up, he bitched up.
Yep.
Yeah. Here's your reparations. What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Once again, let's talk to the canteen. Let's see if we can get some money to some folks. Oh, is this his at home work to?
Yeah, where he's got his magazine spacers taped together for quicker reloading.
Listen, the 100-mile-an-hour tape and the box that the ammo came in works just fine. You don't have to get crazy with nuts and bolts. Jesus.
Or you just turn the mag upside down. That's what I used to do. Yeah. Okay, and here.
This is map.
Yeah. So basically, to get this, he walked through and did a reconnaissance, and he might have actually done a rehearsal without the weapon.
Oh, I'd be willing to bet he did a walkthrough. Walked into the store, found his entry point, see where he could start from and work his way out.
Yep, and there he is wearing the helmet. Of course, you got to have your earplugs in if you're going to go on a mass killing, I guess.
If you wanted to wear that kit, son, we could. Oh, do not defile God's plaid. Woodland BDUs. Get out of it, son. Don't deserve it.
I'm just trying to see
one count of murder. He's facing one count of murder in Erie County. What?
Yeah.
I thought he killed a few more.
I think I don't know if he did or didn't. I think he did. Didn't it say he killed like 10 people?
Maybe maybe they're charging him one person at a time in the unlikely event he tries a insanity plea or something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Here's
Turd.
One here.
Let me shit in that mask and let you wear it for about 8 hours. You turd.
10 counts of first-degree murder. 10 counts of second-degree murder as a hate crime, and 3 counts of attempted murder as a hate crime. All right, see, now the only thing about this that I don't approve of, 10 people are dead. Charge him with murder. Okay, I mean, you can't, I don't agree with charging somebody with manslaughter, second-degree, and first-degree murder for the killing of one person. You pick one and go with it.
Yeah,
No, listen. In this case, maybe this is warranted, but I've been into a lot of court cases where I've seen guys for relatively minor bullshit have like a long string of charges that they're never going to beat them all. I mean, That's stupid, and I don't agree with that. And that's probably, why we're seeing a lot of people pissed off at the cops, because it's getting to the point where as soon as you have contact with them at any time, resisting arrest, and they can just run you up the flagpole, and it's wrong, in my opinion, of course.
Well, in some cases, stacking is bad news. In other cases, like in this kid, piling on all those charges and allowing them to, even if they do them one at a time and this, that, and the other, it guarantees he's gonna go to jail. He's gonna spend the rest of his natural born life in there.
Oh yeah.
Whereas if they lump it all into one and they try to charge him, if for whatever reason they don't make that case, you only get one bite at the apple. So they try one murder case, and if his attorney comes out and says, well, he was nuttier than a squirrel turd. Okay, well, we run that through. If he gets passed on that, then okay, well, we're going to charge you with these ones, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I can see it in some cases. Yeah, I've seen stacking where it's just you're being an asshole to somebody. But
and that's, in my opinion, that's just an end around way to get around your constitutional rights.
And unfortunately, in some places, they're screwing the cops though. Like I believe it might even been Chicago. They were given a stand down. They don't chase bad guys anymore. So if it's a foot chase, whatever, they let them go. I believe it's the same for a car chase. They have to say, hey, once they turn on the light, you got to let it go. We'll catch them another time. That's a horrible position to be in as a cop.
Yeah.
Some of the shit they got out on the West Coast. I think the funniest thing I've heard is that, and I want to say it's like San Francisco. There's a law now that says, hey, we're only going to cite shoplifters if it's
over a certain dollar amount. Yeah.
Well, no, if it's less than $1,000, we're only going to cite. We're not going to arrest. We're not going to do this, that, and the other. So criminals will now walk into a store with a bag and a calculator, and they'll just start adding shit up. When they get to $900, they'll walk out the door because they know the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to get a ticket. That's if they get caught. Because let's face it, what's the response time? So in that position, imagine being a cop and having to face that business owner who said, hey, look, I had 16 people come through my store and all of them stole $900 worth of shit. I'm out 16 grand, right?
Yep.
What do I do? And the cop has to go, if I find them, I'll write them a ticket and they'll have to show up in court.
Good luck.
That business owner's going to blow an O-ring, yelling at you. So we spent how long saying that cops are bad, we need to defund the police, and shit goes south, and then we're like, well, where were the cops? Why didn't they do this? Well, you spent the last year making us villains. How do you now say why didn't I stop this, or why didn't I do this? So it's a terrible time. I don't envy some of my buddies who are cops still. They're in a bad spot. But we all know 3%ers. We know those guys that are shit and they shouldn't be in the job.
Yep.
And they ruin it for a lot of them. But yeah, it's a tough time.
And we got this one here is just the Buffalo mass shooter. He pled not guilty to all 25 counts.
Fuck.
All right, now we've been talking, for 2 hours pretty much in regards to these 3 mass shootings, and you're gonna hear in the media about white supreme pizza and just white supremacy is just this huge problem. And here we go. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay. Trying to find the picture. Where is it? Here it is.
There it is.
All right. I believe these were the mass shooters of either 2019 or 2020.
I think it was 2019 up.
Okay. Well, this is by year. That's everyone in 1 year.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, if you look here, look at this. We got, let's go through the faces. White guy. Maybe. White guy, it's 2. 3. He's wearing his military uniform. What an idiot. 3.
That's not going to go well.
4. Got a chick in there. 5.
That's shocking too.
6. 7. 8. 9. He got tooled up. 10. 11, 12. 13, 14. And that guy looks like the shooter we just had. 14. 15. 16. 17. He looks very unhappy. 18. 18. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, so we're talking like 18 out of like 90, 120, something like that. It's like 20%.
The statistics do not support some of the statements being made by people.
No, they don't. They're trying to push fear because they want to take away the Second Amendment rights from everyone. And it's just a matter of time after that happens when we become China. All right. Now, over there right now, they're literally welding people in apartment buildings and not feeding whole districts, rolling blackouts. They have concentration camps where they put the Uyghur Muslims and the Falun Gong people. So we really don't even know how many prisons they have or what's going on there. Okay, and if you want to get a organ, you can buy one from China. Where do you think those come from? Do you think there's people willingly like, oh yeah, sure. Yeah. No.
That seems odd.
Yeah. Here's another one. All right. This is from 2019. And this is a tweet from Andy No. All right, now it's, basically the definition is any shooting where 4 or more people are hit, not including the shooter. Some of them go down to 2 people or more. So, it is what it is. But there's a lot of mass shooters here. And a large majority of them, there it is right there. Absent father's link ignored by anti-gun activists. They don't want, the feminists don't want this being talked about in any meaningful way because it means that once the civilization recognizes that, hey, fathers are needed around their kids, there's going to be some policy changes. They have to make them. And that will take power away from the feminists. And what they're about is domination and special treatment and special privileges.
All in the name of equality.
All in the name of equality.
And let's face it, anytime a government tells you don't need a gun, you need a fucking gun.
Yeah. And here's the stats from USSCA. Fact and fiction. All right. So U.S. firearm homicides by the numbers. This little red sliver here are mass shootings, and they apply for 0.1% of all firearm homicides. 61% are committed by a family member or other acquaintance. 25 committed by a stranger, and 14 by an intimate partner. Okay. Where's another one I want to show you here? All right. See, mass public shooting by weapon type from 1998 to 1919. 56% are carried out by handguns. 13% by rifle only. 4% by shotgun only. Those are some rookie numbers. Those shotguns got to work on those. Handgun and rifle, 12%. Handgun and shotgun, 12%. Handgun, shotgun, and rifle, 3%.
So let's look at this. They're going to tout this AR, this evil AR weapon system, and how the assault weapons ban is going to make such a difference. Let's look at that. Rifle only is what, 13%?
Correct.
And I bet you if they cut it down and they were to actually drill down to what type of rifle, the AR is probably an even smaller number than that. So this idea that this new weapons ban or this assault weapons ban being brought back, because it was a hunk of shit in '94. It only banned cosmetics. I laughed because when it went around the first time, I was a cop in Columbus, Ohio, and they talk about, hey, we're doing this for officer safety, and we're doing this, that, and the other. They would ban an AR-15, but you could own a Mini 14.
Which is it's virtually identical.
Yeah. The funny part was for a period of time, I said, look, if you want to make any kind of, and this is like at the far outside, if you really wanted to say, hey, it's for officer safety and stuff like that, say, hey, if you want to buy a 50 caliber rifle, hey, you've got to go through this process. You got to have, first off, you got to have a place where you'll be able to shoot that thing and this, that, and the other. Because as an officer wearing a Kevlar vest, I would worry about somebody having a 50 caliber rifle. That might be the only thing that I would say would be a dangerous assault weapon if I were to be inclined to have that kind of argument. But to sit here and say that a gun-owning civilian has to, have his weapon restricted or possibly taken away from him because it's got a bayonet lug, it's got a vertical grip, and it has the ability to hold a magazine of 20 rounds. That became an assault weapon. And all those things are cosmetic. All of them. Nothing has anything to do with the function of the rifle.
That's absolutely correct.
And to hear them tout, well, this is officer safety, or this is, and it didn't do a damn thing. If you look at the stats between 94 and 2004 when it expired,
no fucks were given.
No fucks were given. Crime was already going down on a downward slope. Didn't change really any of the stats and this, that, and the other. And as a matter of fact, when it expired, numbers continued to go down. So it was like, well, wait a minute. People can now have a 20-round magazine in their handgun. Shouldn't we see a spike in crime? No. I laugh. There's a story out there, and one of these days I'll dig it up. There was a story of a town in Virginia where the mayor, and it's obviously a small town, the mayor of the town had said, hey, look, we are going to put a law in, or we're going to put an ordinance in, that if you live in this town, you have to own a gun, bottom line. And we can inspect at any time to make sure that you have it. He never did. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. But the minute that they put that into their ordinance and they had a nice little news piece about it, crime went down by like 70% in his town.
Wow. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Odd, you would say.
Yeah. Odd, yeah.
But
there's more argument here for the high capacity magazines. All right.
And let's face it, how quick does it take you to, let's say I have 19 10-round magazines. It takes me how long? Dump, reload, work the action, and go back to work. 10-round mag ain't going to make a bit of difference.
No.
Not a bit.
No, especially if you rehearse the mag changes. I mean, at my best, when I'm up to speed on my gun working skills, which are very dilapidated of late because I retired in 18, I could roll through a reload in 3 seconds.
And I mean, think about it. If you have unarmed victims in front of you, it could be a 4-second mag change. It doesn't matter. There's nobody to fight back. So,
yeah. They're talking about the deadly acts of terrorism. I mean, listen. I am not pushing this company, USCCA. But to be honest, right now, I think they're doing a way better job at our gun rights than the NRA. So,
NRA is worried about losing their money.
yeah. Plus, there's all kinds of infighting and shit. It's so stupid. So anyway, I mean, that's... And here's another study from Minnesota Psychological Association about the implications. Father absent homes, implications for criminal justice and mental health professionals. And he just literally, they go down the line. You know, perceived abandonment, attachment issues, child abuse, childhood obesity, criminal justice involvement, gang involvement, mental health issues.
And look, all of it screams, I'm looking for acceptance. We go back to the beginning where it's abandonment issues. Mm-hmm. Now everything after that, they are looking for some form of acceptance. The gang thing,
Yep. They're looking for that and a father figure. Poverty and homelessness. Substance abuse. I mean, this is a roadmap to the crime problem we're having right now, to include mass shooting.
Fairly certain everybody can look back growing up. We had that one, and even if it wasn't a father figure, even if it was a female figure that was taking that role, somebody early on taught most of us, you need to get a job, you need to support yourself, you need to do this. Hurting people's bad, don't be an asshole. All the basic the basic rules of life, if you will. When you don't have that, shit, I can do whatever I want. I can kick people, I can hurt people, I can join Antifa, all that dumb shit.
Yeah, because nobody's there to like, hey, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah. Why are you not doing the chores? Something as simple as, having that father figure or that person tell you, hey, you're supposed to do the dishes every day, or you're supposed to do the laundry every day, or you're supposed to cut the grass. It seems trivial, but it's all that learning that you have to go through, that, hey, if I want to make money, I've got to work for it. I can't just be given it. I just can't do this. I have to. Yeah. So it's all those things.
It doesn't fall out of your ass.
Yeah. We can't just print money, or we can't just, give everybody free everything. No, you have to work for that shit.
All right, let me see if we have any more super chats, and then I'll check the email real quick. Let's see if we got anything on YouTube, because we pretty much ran through the end here. Well, we've kept 550 people to the end. That's cool.
Woohoo! We didn't run anybody off?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really announce this anyway, so usually I spam it out pretty good on all of the social media. Okay, let me see what I got here on the other computer. All right. Let's see. I'm not seeing any emails. Hang on, the Blaze. All right. We got something from Lauren M. Agee. No comment. They don't come through on Stripe. Sorry. Cash App. Steven Torres, $5. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. We got a Benjamin Rudd, $5. Cash App. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. David Kulansky, $10. Cash App. Thank you.
Yeah, you better not fuck up his name. He may take the money back.
I'm bad with names. And listen, these guys know me pretty good. Let's see. All right, and then I have somebody sending me some information on the Akron, Ohio shooting. I might want to cover that in next week, maybe.
Yeah, they shot something like 60 rounds into that kid.
Yep.
Still waiting for more information on that one too. But
Yeah, I know.
that's going to be another.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen. That's going to be nuts. Okay. I think that might be it. All right. We're going to be calling it here. 2 hours, roughly 15 minutes, plus or minus a minute. And again, Blake isn't here on Thursday, and our Patreon account got nuked. So please, if you could support us on Subscribe Star, or what is the other one? Locals. I'm working for a substitute, and then we have Mana Pay via the Manosphere. That'd be great. Have anything else to say there, Keith?
Nope. It's going to be an interesting time in our world, and my God, hopefully somebody gets this shit sorted out so we can get back to some semblance of reality and sensibility.
Well, we'll see about that. I think we're going to be moving into another wild, wild west time, especially if money gets shitty and food gets expensive.
Things will continue to be odd.
Yeah, there will be more oddness moving forward.
Odd.
All right. With that being said, gentlemen, don't drink and drive, and don't drink and swim. Wear a condom, take it with you, and flush it down the toilet. If you're going to fight, don't wrap up and go to the ground, because that's where his buddies are going to stomp you out. And if you have to use a weapon to defend yourself, shoot to kill, not to wound. It's best if there's only one person telling the story. All right, thank you for showing up, and I will talk to you later.
Out of here.
So what you think?